Hello and welcome to Young People in Politics. I'm Gabriel Gary, the host, and today I have on the show Adam Mockler. Mockler is a 21-year-old political commentator and journalist. He has 230,000 subscribers on YouTube, 52,000 followers on Instagram, and nearly 40,000 on X, formerly known as Twitter. Adam does many debates on his social media and also interviews with politicians and other leaders like me. So thank you so much, Adam, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me on, man. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, so I just wanted to jump in because you've amassed such a big platform in politics. I just want to know what, really got you into politics to begin with, whether it be a person, a book, or anything like that.
I'd say it's really interesting because from a young age, I was really interested in politics because of my family members talking about it, because of the family structure I grew up in. My dad and his side of the family were Muslim. My mom and her side of the family were largely Christian. So from a young age, they explained to me that I can believe whatever I want. I just have to think everything through. And then I went to mosque a lot. I went to a church a few times. So I kind of got to experience all these different things. And then I started debating people about religion and politics in like fourth or fifth grade. One of my earliest memories is getting kicked out of class in fifth grade because my teacher was talking about gay marriage and I was arguing with him about it. This is about around the time it got federally or nationally legalized. And then around that time, I was also super into playing video games and making YouTube videos. So I'd play Minecraft all the time. I'd make YouTube videos about them. I'd edit for hours and hours. So as the years progressed, as Trump got elected, I got increasingly interested in politics. I would read a lot about it. I would watch political debates. I would debate my friends. And then when I finally got to a certain age, I realized I could combine all of these skills with video editing from my Minecraft days, with debating from my interest in politics, and then my ability to talk to people and combine it all into a series. And that's what got me into this whole content creation journey. And then, yeah, that just stemmed from my interest in politics that came from religion, came from talking to my family members, talking to my friends. Like growing up in Indiana, we grew up in the same town actually. So growing up in Indiana, it's predominantly, I'd say, Republican. Almost everyone I went to school with was Republican. So my friends that I grew up with, we would talk about politics a lot and being exposed to those different viewpoints from a very young age. From like 8 or 9 years old, I'd go over and I would listen to their parents talk politics or they'd watch Fox News. Really helped shape the way I talk to Trump supporters today because I know how they're thinking more so than like a West Coast liberal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no doubt. And I've watched some of those debates, and I have to say it's good to not many people, especially in politics, talk to differing opinions, which is, I think, a big failure in most young people in politics and career politicians. They'll go on Newsmax 20 times a week and not actually talk to people with differing opinions. So I really appreciate that you're branching out. And I want to ask, what do you think the biggest issue is in this upcoming election, specifically for young people?
For young people specifically, that's a rough one. Like if you poll young people, according to the polling, it says economy, education, healthcare, stuff like that,
Yeah.
stuff that actually affects their day-to-day lives. But from my point of view, what I think should be the biggest issue for everyone is just broadly democracy. I think our democracy is at stake. I think that if you look at Donald Trump and his total disregard for the unwritten norms that keep our country going on a day-to-day basis, that keep our institutions functioning. I feel like Donald Trump just shows a total disregard for all of these norms time and time again. He wants to disrupt different processes that are going on. The big one is the peaceful transfer of power. But I also think education reform is a good answer. I think the economy is a good answer. There's a lot of stuff there. And I think you made a really good point about people just not being able to reach across and talk to people on the other side.
Mm.
That was a great point because that's part of the reason I do what I do is to try to teach people new ways of thinking, teach people new fact patterns that they otherwise wouldn't hear. And I think people get so caught up in their echo chambers online, on social media. And if you go on social media, all of the extremes are pushed to the front of your page. So you start to naturally get sucked into the extremes. But then you talk to someone in person. I go and I talk to a MAGA supporter in person, and he's like, oh, you're a liberal, but you're not like a baby eating blue haired wild person. You're just like a normal dude. And it's like, yeah, most liberal people are incredibly normal. Sorry, I just want to touch on what you said there. But yeah, that's probably what I'd say. Young people should focus on democracy more.
Okay, okay, yeah. And why do you think that, so many young people, you're obviously, a rare case, but some young people just, don't have interest in politics. They're kind of apprehensive to get in politics. Why do you think that is?
For a few reasons. I mean, they're probably a lot of times still insulated in their own little world. Like when you're living with your parents or you're going to college, you're too caught up in your day-to-day life. And I guess a lot of Americans are like that. But once you start to get older and you start to see how politics affects your day-to-day life, you get more interested. A lot of young people probably, I wouldn't say they're not mature enough yet, because there's a lot of mature people I know that just don't pay attention to politics. But yeah, you're too focused on other stuff that's going on in your life, and the last thing you want to think about are a bunch of old people, or what a bunch of old people in Congress are doing. Disproportionately, everyone in Congress is way older, so that's why people feel disillusioned naturally. And we do have our activist wings, like the activist wings of our party. You can go back to any sort of generation, even the generations in the 60s and the 70s, they had their activist wing that are hyper focused. But the vast majority of Gen Zers casually pay attention to politics, or they just absorb what their parents say, and that becomes their opinion right away.
Sure. Or they'll see like an edit on TikTok. They'll be like, "Oh, I like this guy."
Yeah,
Uh,
very surface level engagement with
right, right,
politics.
right. Yeah, I think that's kind of the general consensus. Actually, my past interview on this show with Dylan, he said that it is people just getting too caught up in their lives, and
Mhm.
that's a very real answer. And I want to know, how do you think that we can get more young people engaged and out in the field engaged in politics involved?
Yeah, I was talking about this on my show the other day. I guess in some way, just memifying politics more, like you were saying, those meme videos that people
Yeah.
really are attracted to. I feel like if, at least speaking from my side, I feel like if the liberals got better at making meme videos like that or memifying Biden, it could attract to younger voters. Or, for example, with Project 2025, in there it says stuff about banning pornography. They want to ban like sex ed and stuff. So if you could memify that, be like the Republicans want to ban pornography, I feel like that'd be a good meme. But yeah, also, like I said earlier, it feels like Congress is disproportionately filled with super old people, like
Yeah.
old as hell, like Bernie Sanders types. And it's like nobody really resonates with the old people. I guess young people do resonate with Bernie Sanders, but more young people engaged in politics, more Maxwell Frosts, more AOCs. I love listening to AOC talk. I feel like the more young people that can engage, you'll hit a different fan base or like a different demographic. What other ways can young people get engaged? Yeah, I don't know. Just generally, we're in a really unique time right now because politics is actually more interesting than it's ever been. Like it used to be incredibly boring. So I was gonna say make politics more interesting, but right now it's incredibly interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I think you bring up a good point because honestly, I'll be honest, I hear a lot, because I'm very, ingrained. And I talk to a lot of other, young conservatives, and they all say like, "Oh, the Republican Party needs to get better at, online presence." And I would say that we're actually not too bad. I mean, the amount of like Trump edits I'll see and stuff like
Mm,
that is kind of like, and that's why I think a lot of young men are captivated by Trump because they'll see like a Trump edit online. So
yeah.
it's a little interesting to see, but I think both sides, it's definitely where the young people are is online social media. So it's a good point.
They're trying to figure it out. I think the Republicans are actually killing it online right now. Like that TikTok of Trump walking into the UFC
Oh yeah,
event
absolutely.
that got like 70 million views or something. It had a ton of likes. I think that was wild. That was a great move. And that just attracts young people. I think the Republicans are doing well. The Democrats are doing it decently. Like after the Super Bowl, when Biden tweeted out just how we planned it, and it was like a dark Brandon meme. I think that was a pretty good meme. But both sides are trying. They're trying to understand it. But
Yeah, yeah, they're figuring it out.
yeah.
I just want to, touch on a little bit of a more serious issue about, the college protests going on right now. I just want to know what are your thoughts on the college protests? I'm sure we have a little bit of different ideas, but you're at, a college and you're college age. What are your thoughts on the ongoing protests right now?
I think it's like one of the most beautiful parts of America is that they have the right to assemble, the right to protest. I don't agree with the way they're protesting sometimes when they're purposefully violating rules. They're purposefully staying up past the curfew or trespassing. Obviously, I don't agree with any of that, but I think like the bulk of the protests are probably fine. I think some of them are a little bit cringe. I think it's cringe when they block Jewish students from coming onto campus. I don't agree with a lot of the content in the protests, but largely I agree with that they have the right to do them.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think the people are misled that are protesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's I had some other point to make about the protests. I haven't really run into many at where I go to college, DePaul. I know there were some encampments there, and I think personally, yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I totally respect, people's First Amendment to protest, of course, like many people. I just don't, think that protesting should lead to the infringing on, people's lives and
Oh yeah.
especially well-being of, like you said, Jewish students. Like, if you're inhibiting somebody from going to class and learning and, making it dangerous on college campuses, that's a really um, unfortunate and thing that shouldn't be going on. And I also don't like when, of course, the destruction of college property on historic statues like, George Washington and many other people like that. But um, also, I think Reagan said something like, it's not okay when people are, choosing to obey and disobey certain laws in the name of social protest. I think that, you shouldn't be destroying, college property and saying that's your, right to protest should be peaceful. And that's pretty much my stance on it. So yeah.
Yeah, I lost what I was gonna say, but I think like going back to what I said way earlier, every generation has its protesting wing, the activist wing, and I think right now we're just seeing a repeat of like the 70s, the 80s. So it's sort of normal, but I largely find the protesters annoying. A lot of the videos I've seen of them stopping Jewish students from entering the campus. In no other context would that be allowed. Like if that was any other sort of minority student, I feel like people would get called out, rightfully so, for stopping them from entering campus. I think a lot of them are misled, whether it's by Iranian propaganda or Russian propaganda. I think that is currently seeping into the mainstream of our politics. And think about how much Vladimir Putin benefits when he sees young
Mhm.
Americans at each other's necks protesting on college campuses. He sees disruption, he sees everything like burning or whatever. I think like Russia just benefits from that a lot. Um yeah, I don't think Biden is genocide Joe like they say either. But yeah, it's complicated. I get where they're coming from, but at the same time they should probably chill out and get off TikTok.
Right, right. Just to finish here, I just want to know what would your advice be to a young person wanting to get in politics, a little apprehensive right now, a little, just kind of standoffish when it comes to politics, but they want to, get engaged like you are.
I'd say engage with it responsibly. Literally just download a few apps like AP, the Associated Press, or BBC, a few apps that are actually like reliable news sources, and read entire articles because there's a few ways you can engage with politics. You can scroll through TikTok and get your information from bite-sized TikToks. And a lot of times a 30 to 60-second TikTok will leave out a lot of the flesh or a lot of the like the meat and bones or whatever it is. They'll leave out a lot of the bulk of the news. But if you go and read an AP article or a BBC article or sometimes even a CNN or Fox News article, they have a lot of punditry on the actual TV, but they write decent articles. I read CNN and Fox News. Read the entire article and you will be more informed than 99% of the people in the country. If you just read a few full articles a day, as opposed to scrolling Twitter or Instagram or TikTok. So
Mhm.
yeah, engage with it responsibly. Stay respectful when you debate people. It's really easy to get condescending when you're young. I remember my friends and I would always debate, and I would be a condescending, smug liberal, but there's no need to be. You can be a normal person who just has an exchange of ideas. It doesn't have to be like that, but make sure that you are reading full articles, not just headlines, not just TikToks. I think that's how young people should engage. And there's many ways in our democracy to get your voice out there other than just protesting. You can vote. That is one of our pillars. You can mobilize, you can door knock, you can canvass. I've canvassed before. It's really easy and fun. You can phone bank. There's other ways to volunteer your time for our democracy other than just social media activism or protesting. Yeah, that's largely what I'd say.
Mhm. Well, that concludes my questions. Thank you, Adam, for coming on the show, Young People in Politics.
Thank you for having me. That was a great chat, and I hope we do it again before the election comes.
Before you stop watching, consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps us grow in viewership, reach, and getting, new viewers to watch the great content that I'm putting out. Also, please follow me on all my social medias at Gabriel F. Gary on everything. Check out another video for my channel when you get the chance.